Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 57 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. Luo Feng activated the mark in his hand and began to examine the infinite space treasure vault. Within the treasure trove, one could view resources information that did not exceed their own reward points. The information in the vault had naturally undergone great changes. The first inheritance information listed. Primordial Array Map 3 Volumes, Volume 1, Perfection Level Inheritance, required 10,081 reward points for exchange, and required the cultivation of the Origin Tao of Space to the extreme limit of the second realm of Godly King before there was hope of entry. Destruction 9 Realms, Second and Third Realms, Perfection Level Inheritance, required 10,000 reward points for exchange, corresponding to the second realm of Godly King. Initial Path, First Step, Perfection Level Inheritance, required 10,000 reward points for exchange, corresponding to the second realm of Godly King, required the Origin Tao of Matter and the Origin Tao of the Infinite to reach the second realm of Godly King before there was hope of entry. 8 Tribulations Life Form, Fourth and Fifth Tribulations, required 10,000 reward points for exchange, Ultimate Realm of God King Section. World Life Form, Second Volume, Special Grade Inheritance, required 3,000 reward points for exchange, Second Realm of Godly King Section. 8 Tribulations Life Form, Second and Third Tribulations, required 500 reward points for exchange, Second Realm of Godly King Section. Luo Feng perused the innumerable inheritance information densely packed together. Perfection Level Inheritance, sections for the second realm of Godly King, require about 10,000 reward points. Special Grade Inheritance, sections for the second realm of Godly King, require about 3,000 points. Upper Class Inheritance, sections for the second realm of Godly King are about 500 points, and for the Ultimate section, about 10,000 points. Intermediate Inheritance, Ultimate Realm of God King, is only 2,000 points. Luo Feng gained a clearer understanding of the exchange prices for these inheritances and realized what a vast fortune his master, Emperor Chu, had bestowed upon him by giving him both 8 Tribulations Life Form and extermination of 72 blades, up to the Ultimate Realm of God King for free. According to the Infinite Space Exchange, it was worth about 20,000 reward points. No wonder the powerhouses from the two ancient countries on Land of Origin considered this treasure site to be the most ordinary one. Luo Feng thought, they find it too difficult to earn reward points, yet they could easily learn upper-class inheritance within the two ancient countries. What still attracts them to infinite space should be the perfection inheritance and special grade inheritance. But these two types of inheritances are too expensive, and reward points are too difficult to obtain. Luo Feng was very clear about this point. As a being of the primal chaos realm, reaching the will at the ultimate realm of God King, he would have 10,000 reward points. But according to what Luo Feng knew, if one was at the first realm of Godly King and reached the will of the ultimate realm of the Godly King, one would only get 1,000 points. Therefore, for those ancient beings, exchanging for special grade inheritance of the second realm of Godly King is extremely difficult. Yet, each ancient being still retains their consciousness here. The paths of pioneering a great Tao and spiritual will are too difficult for Godly Kings. It is already so arduous to comprehend the branches of the great Tao they already possess, let alone to pioneer a branch of the great Tao. The difficulty is unimaginably higher. The ancient beings in infinite space usually accumulate reward points by hunting native creatures, and although each creature must be killed many times and it takes a long time to accumulate about 5 points, as long as there is enough time, killing 10 or 100, they can eventually accumulate enough reward points. Exchange for 3 more inheritances. Luo Feng did not hesitate to exchange for 3 more special grade inheritances, all of which were sections for the first realm of Godly King. Life Evolution Map, Entry Section, Special Grade Inheritance, required 30 reward points for exchange, First Realm of Godly King Section. This is an inheritance that is entirely centered on the Great Tao of Life Origin. Although it cannot harness Luo Feng's formless and intangible abilities, the level of detail in its research on life is even more superior to that of World Life Form. Chaos Whole Beast Body, First Transformation, Special Grade Inheritance, required 30 reward points for exchange, First Realm of Godly King Section. This inheritance is centered on the great Tao of destruction origin, and can cultivate an indomitably strong body with immense destructive power. Destruction Wanderer, First Section, Special Grade Inheritance, required 30 reward points for exchange, First Realm of Godly King Section, which is a path that seeks the ultimate in destruction and demolition. Now, for the Great Tao of Life Origin, I have 2 special grade inheritances, World Life Form and Life Evolution Map. For the Great Tao of Destruction Origin I also have 2 special grade inheritances, Chaos Whole Beast Body and Destruction Wanderer. But according to the descriptions here, special grade inheritances can only be exchanged up to the level of the ultimate realm of God King. Luo Feng noticed this issue. Both perfection level inheritance and special grade inheritance are capped at the ultimate realm of God King section. Wanting higher? They all require the Creator to personally impart them. Upper class inheritances, on the other hand, do contain content that transcends the ultimate realm of the God King. No matter what, at least at the Godly King stage, I can have a deeper accumulation. Luo Feng had been too poor before, needing to be frugal with his reward points. Now, however, he was wealthy and could afford the best conditions for each stage. As for perfection inheritances, the threshold for cultivation is too high. Forcing cultivation without reaching the threshold brings many potential problems. Luo Feng would not blindly overestimate himself. I hope that with these special grade inheritances, my life form can advance further. Luo Feng, who had been cultivating in seclusion for 100 eras, had already accumulated profound depth in his triune form, having derived 6 different triune forms. I wonder if, in the primal chaos realm, I could comprehend the most perfect 10 directions world form of primal chaos realm. Luo Feng now aimed for this goal. The 10 directions world form encompasses the mysteries of life's 6 major branches, and theoretically, if all 6 branches reach the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, it could be possible to comprehend it. However, in practice, even after becoming a godly king and mastering 3 or 4 branches, it is very difficult to comprehend the 10 directions world form. Only when all 6 branches are comprehended can one more easily grasp the 10 directions world form. As a being of the primal chaos realm, Luo Feng had not mastered any Tao branch, and forcibly contemplating the 10 directions world form was extremely challenging. Even though Luo Feng's spiritual will had reached the ultimate realm of God King, he possessed many special grade inheritances, and had consumed both primordial crystal spirit fruits and clearing spirit liquids. It was still a very difficult goal to achieve. Pursuing higher-level secret techniques with a lower-level realm, even if I fail, is also a refinement for my comprehension. Luo Feng was at peace with this pursuit. Even if he ultimately failed, cultivating his comprehension would still be a gain. Windjong City. Mu Qingyang and his wife received an incredibly warm welcome from the Zhong family, and Zhong Yunj had never been so honored. After staying with many relatives and friends who tried to keep them, the couple finally bid farewell to their loved ones. We should head to Huyang City now. Standing at the front of the cabin on a flying boat, Morosa and the couple Mu Qingyang looked back, with some servants inside the cabin. I was planning to stay in Windjong City for just 10 or 20 days, but who would have thought we'd end up staying for over 1,000 days, sighed Mu Qingyang. No helping it, his wife, Zhong Yunj, said with a smile, you saw it yourself, there are so many in the royal family. Even just the most important friends and relatives are numerous. With so many invitations, my father and the others couldn't refuse. Mu Qingyang nodded, then turned to Morosa, second master, how long will it take us to reach Huyang City? About a day, Morosa said casually. If he could reveal his full strength, he could have reached it in the time of a few sentences. Father and big brother have been waiting for us for a while now, said Mu Qingyang, eager to return. As cultivators, becoming a Daoist couple was a very private matter and didn't necessitate informing parents. However, both Mu Qingyang and Zhong Yunj had strong familial affection within their clans, so after they became a couple, they went to visit their parents and elders. Whoosh! As the flying boat shuttled through the void, there was a shadow in the void that watched the boat from afar. They hid in Windjong City, and they hid for such a long time, the shadow was quite annoyed. After all, Windjong City was the residence of the Wind Chapter God King and the ancestral home of the clan. It was naturally protected by powerful formations at great cost, so he would not make a move within the city. Whoosh! The shadow, silent and unseen, followed the flying boat as it passed through the void. The flying boat rushed on its way. Morosa sat leisurely, enjoying the service of his disciple and his wife. Mo Qingyang and his wife were helping to pour drinks and keeping him company in conversation. Suddenly, the previously relaxed Morosa's brows furrowed slightly. With his sense, a shadow hidden within the layers of space was rapidly approaching. Given the methods of this shadow, it was certainly no ordinary primal chaos realm cultivator. Not good, Morosa was startled. Judging by this shadow's methods, it doesn't seem like an ordinary primal chaos realm cultivator. It's either a godly king or a cultivator who has transcended primal chaos realm. Why would there be such a powerful enemy pursuing this flying boat? I've kept such a low profile and never revealed my strength. My disciple and his wife are even weaker, he wondered. Could it be because of the master, implicating us? Morosa immediately speculated. Master, there seems to be a presence, possibly transcendent of primal chaos realm or at the godly king level, who is about to make a move on us. If you don't show up soon, I won't be able to hide my strength any longer. Morosa immediately sent out a message with his spiritual will. Oh? Going to make a move on you. Luo Feng halted his cultivation, with most of his consciousness gathering on the water drop mark in the palm of Mo Qingyan's hand. Suddenly, Mo Qingyang was somewhat surprised. He felt the water drop mark left by his master in his palm suddenly transform into a droplet and fly out. What is this? Zhong Yunj was also surprised as she watched the droplet that appeared out of nowhere. Whoosh! Suddenly, a vague shadow passed through the walls of the flying boat cabin, attempting to whisk away Mo Qingyang, Zhong Yunj, and Morosa. Quite bold, said Luo Feng's voice. The droplet suddenly expanded, turning into a water droplet cage, and instantly enveloped the vague shadow. Trapped inside, the shadow was forced to appear, surprised, Luo He. I didn't expect you to have an avatar guarding your disciple. You really do care about your disciple, don't you? Completely hidden breath, concealing identity, Luo Feng could not recognize the shadow's identity. The aura of the shadow did not match any of the information on the strong figures of the land of origin. It was evidently deliberately concealing its own. So cautious in your concealment, you an assassin. Luo Feng was well aware that there were some ancient beings in the land of origin who would take on assassination jobs, as earning resources this way was quite fast. I won't hide it from you. I am a member of the Shadow Sky Realm. The shadow spoke. Since you, Luo He, are here, I will give you some respect. The true body shall descend. Let's see if you can protect your servant, your disciple. As soon as the voice fell, the water droplet cage suddenly constricted and instantly obliterated the shadow inside. The water droplet then transformed back into the figure of Luo Feng. Master, Morosa immediately bowed respectfully. Teacher, Mo Qingyang also bowed right away. Greetings, Garrison Commander. Zhong Yunj was also very nervous. This was her first time meeting the legendary Great Saint Luo He. Luo Feng, however, looked into the distance, feeling a terrifying power descending not far ahead. This old fellow's true body has arrived. Luo Feng clearly sensed the terrifying power that had descended, seemingly capable of eroding everything. Its formidable presence was such that, were his true body present, he might have been able to withstand it head-on. However, with just an avatar, Luo Feng no longer felt confident at this moment. Morosa, prepare the backup plan, Luo Feng transmitted his voice. Backup plan? Morosa, who had been ready to watch the battle, couldn't help but shiver at the thought. Having arrived at the land of origin, Morosa's identity as a sector beast would not be revealed until they possessed absolute power. Still, the master and servant indeed had a backup plan, which was to utilize the ability of formlessness and intangibility that both master and servant possessed. At that moment, with their roles reversed, Luo Feng would become Morosa and Morosa would become Luo Feng, covering for each other. Only after transforming into Luo Feng could Morosa unleash his more terrifying power. All right, I'll wait for your command, Morosa said, quite eager. Things shouldn't be so dire yet. Keep an eye on them, Luo Feng said, and then instantly passed through the flying boat to the outside. Mu Qingyang and his wife watched carefully through the flying boat, eyeing the impending clash of godly king-tier forces. Meanwhile, the attending servants were both anxious and excited, for such a high-level confrontation was indeed rare to witness. Watch closely, Morosa glanced at Mu Qingyang and his wife. If the situation turns dire, I will temporarily take you into the spatial treasures. Yes, second master, replied Mu Qingyang and his wife, both watching intently. Luo Feng stood mid-air, weaponless, while a vast cloud of grey mist loomed in the distance. This huge cloud emitted an evil aura, as if it could corrupt and defile everything in the world. I'm aware of many ancient existences in the land of origin, but I do not recognize you, Luo Feng observed the other party. I've heard that the Shadow Sky Realm possesses secret techniques to conceal its members. You truly are impressive. Against a mysterious force capable of deploying Emperor-level power, Luo Feng naturally did not dare underestimate them. There's much you don't understand, little fellow. The grey mist cloud revealed a face, staring at Luo Feng. Who hired the Shadow Sky Realm to act against us? Luo Feng spoke, to attack my servant and disciple is truly despicable. The Shadow Sky Realm never betrays its employers. The grey mist cloud actually didn't know the identity of the employer, as there were others in the Shadow Sky Realm who dealt with clients. His job was simply to carry out the task. It wasn't necessary to deal with you for this mission, but I'd like to try, killing your servant and disciple in front of you, little fellow. Luo Feng to the opponent, when I make my move, I won't hold back. Ha ha ha, you think you, little fellow, are in any position to talk about holding back? The grey mist cloud let out a thunderous laugh, echoing between heaven and earth. Rules of heaven and earth were changing, rapidly affecting the direction of the distant flying boat. The entire world seemed to turn grey. This is bad. Inside the flying boat, Mu Qingyang and his wife noticed that the once vibrant world had suddenly turned grey. They both had a sense of impending doom. They feared that once enveloped in grey, they would undoubtedly die. In the grey world, the only color, Luo Feng's figure, suddenly dissipated. Water droplet world? An immensely large water drop world emerged, encompassing a range of quintillions of kilometers, sheltering the flying boat, and also encompassing the huge grey cloud. Within the vastness of the water drop world, the rules of heaven and earth were affected, and the grey zone was quickly suppressed. Your understanding of the laws appears to be rather average. Luo Feng's illusory figure manifested within the gigantic water drop world. Under the guidance of the special grade inheritance, world life form, Luo Feng had newly comprehended 5 kinds of triune forms. These were different from the Black River form he had realized during a fortunate encounter. The droplet form was recorded within world life form, suited best for executing moves involving world manipulation, domains, and long-range attacks. With only a few avatars sent out, the droplet form was naturally the most suitable. That was merely a natural influence I have on the world, the grey mist cloud said while also realizing the prowess of this first person of primal chaos realm, Luo He. Just an avatar was suppressing his influence on the world. How much power can a mere avatar of yours possess to even think of stopping me? The grey mist cloud suddenly burst forth with a tyrannical force, charging wildly as if heaven and earth were collapsing, obliterating every layer of space in its path. Luo Feng could tell at a glance that this was not the full extent of his opponent's might, suspecting that the true explosion of power would occur the instant they made contact. My water droplet world, after all, only contains 1,000 droplets of water. It cannot withstand such a frontal collision. Luo Feng understood this, for it was just an avatar that contained merely 1,000 droplets of water. Whoosh! The vast water droplet world suddenly divided into 360 figures of Luo Feng. The avatar that Luo Feng had sent possessed 1,000 droplets of water, allowing for a maximum of 1,000 avatars to be deployed. Every droplet of water consisted of 18 quadrillion particles. Each was equivalent to a perfectly nourished primal chaos layer creature. Such a perfect primal chaos layer creature, even when using some ordinary moves, would manifest the strength at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. A droplet of Luo Feng's water, when it executed a godly king level move, could achieve the might at the transcendence of primal chaos realm level. Blade River / life and death reincarnation. The 360 figures of Luo Feng instantly transformed into 360 streaks of blade light. Each streak of blade light was the Godly King level blade technique, Blade River Slash. The reason for using this move was, on one hand, to form a blade formation, and on the other, because it was the easiest move for Luo Feng to execute, posing the least burden on his spirit. Upon reaching the ultimate realm of spiritual will as a God King, Luo Feng could allow over 100 avatars to execute Blade River Slash simultaneously. That he could make 360 avatars execute it at once was thanks to the effects of consuming the primordial crystal spirit fruit and the clearing spirit liquid. Luo Feng's thoughts were now much faster than before, and his state of mind was particularly splendid, which allowed him to accomplish this. The vast grey cloud attacked, only to be shocked to find that 360 extremely refined streaks of blade light were instantly cutting through, bearing a formidable destructive force as they penetrated its body. The 360 blade lights cooperated with each other, continuously grinding and annihilating. The vast grey cloud was visibly being worn away. How strong could one avatar be? The enormous grey cloud mass couldn't believe it. It didn't know that in terms of long-range attacks, this was already one of Luo Feng's killing moves. Of course, there were more powerful long-range techniques, which had to rely on quantity to compensate, like simultaneously controlling 10 million droplet blade lights and executing the Blade River Slash, which, at the threshold of the primal chaos realm, would be more powerful due to the scale of the 10 million blade lights than Luo Feng's current blade formation. Alas, Luo Feng had only sent out an avatar. That's not good. The blade formation, composed of Godly King tier blade techniques, was indeed fearsome. In the infinite space, Luo Feng only needed 36 blade lights to eliminate Wuxiang the Ancestor. But in the infinite space, Wuxiang the Ancestor couldn't even use a single branch of the Great Tao and was far from as powerful as the true body. The mysterious entity before him, however, was in the land of origin with his true body. His foundation was extremely profound. In the past, Luo Feng had relied on what could be described as a boundless and unending physical body to overpower his opponents, but now the situation had reversed. The opponent's body was massive and fearsome. His true body's energy reserves are too horrifying. Even if I exhaust all the blade lights, it won't hurt him much. Luo Feng seemed to be holding his own in battle, but as the blade formation ground away, as it eroded the opponent's body, his own blade lights were also being depleted. You, with just one avatar, rank among the forefront of those who have transcended in the primal chaos realm. It's a pity that it's only an avatar after all. Your servants and disciples will still have to die. Accompanied by a rumbling sound, Luo Feng's 360 blade lights were completely annihilated. Morosa, the Moyu Qingyang couple, and all the attendants within the flying boat watched nervously. Originally, seeing the blade formation, formed by the great Saint Luo He, grinding away at the massive grey cloud, they still had hope. But now they were about to be defeated. Master is only an avatar, while the enemy is the true body. If Master's true body were here, this enemy would definitely not win. Moyu Qingyang had great confidence in his master, but he also knew that the situation was dire. If Master cannot hold on, I suppose I will probably die too. Moyu Qingyang looked towards his wife, his mind more settled than ever before. Are we going to die? Zhong Yunj turned towards Moyu Qingyang, smiling faintly. Qingyang, in this world, we are still too weak. Stop talking nonsense and hide quickly. Morosa waved his hand and collected Moyu Qingyang, Zhong Yunj, and many attendants all at once. Morosa appeared nervous on the surface, but inside he was very excited. Master, is it time to start the backup plan? Morosa asked. He had been eager for this moment for a long time. Not yet, Luo Feng responded. Morosa was surprised. The master still has a move left? The powerful avatars of his master were at places like Huyang City, Xiangjie City, and others, all quite distant from there. Logically speaking, it was impossible for them to arrive in time during the extremely short duration of a life-and-death battle. As for using treasures to open a space-time passage, the Godly King tier enemy would never sit and watch a space-time passage stabilize without taking action. At the same time the 360 blade lights were obliterated, the massive grey cloud surged toward the flying boat. HMPH, a silhouette of Luo Feng appeared in the water drop world. looking coldly at the massive grey cloud. The recent grinding blade formation destroyed both parties' forces, and Luo Feng also sensed the will contained within the opponent's power. The opponent's spiritual will was not very powerful, Luo Feng surmised. It should only be the spiritual will of the first realm of Godly King. Be annihilated. Luo Feng did not hesitate to execute the Lai Yuan technique. Especially the impact of the clearing spirit liquid on the spirit, Luo Feng felt that this time he performed the Lai Yuan technique more perfectly. The massive grey mist cloud suddenly couldn't see anything else, only a towering star that rolled towards it. The star's formidable pressure made it tremble with despair, instantly crushing down upon it. No, at that moment, it realized what its fate would be. Phut! Instantly, as the rolling star crushed down, its spiritual will was completely obliterated, not a trace left. The originally formidable giant grey mist cloud rapidly shrank, eventually becoming a grey fog mass that looked like liquid. His true body is actually just grey mist. Luo Feng flew closer to observe the grey fog mass, and their battle was also enveloped by the water drop world, hidden from the outside view. Only Morosa within the distant flying boat clearly saw everything. Dead. Morosa watched the scene, eyes wide, another secret technique of willpower. Whoosh! Morosa retracted the flying boat and appeared beside his master in a flash. Master, who exactly is this Godly King tier entity? Morosa curiously looked at the grey fog mass in front of him, where the fog was dense like liquid, slowly flowing and still eroding everything around it. I don't know, but this is his core, Luo Feng said. I'm sure news will soon spread throughout the land of origin that a Godly King has died. Then, we will know who it was. Can I have this corpse? Morosa asked somewhat eagerly. He had been a Godly King for over a century, and if he relied solely on absorbing heaven and earth energy, it would be too slow. This being, whose path diverged from his own Godly King tier existence, would give him great help if consumed. Let me study it first, and then I'll give it to you. Luo Feng waved his hand and collected the grey fog mass. Make sure to keep the news of me completely killing this Godly King a secret. Yes, Master, Morosa immediately responded. Luo Feng nodded. This was his first time completely killing a Godly King since arriving at the land of origin. Of course, it was also because this Godly King's spiritual will was relatively weak. From the fight, he could see that currently, he could barely manage to completely obliterate a spiritual will of the first realm of Godly King. If this Godly King's spiritual will had been stronger by 30 to 50%, he feared it would be very difficult for him to completely obliterate the opponent. Don't let Qingyang and the others come out for now, Luo Feng instructed. I will get you to Huyang City as soon as possible. Huyang City had his own powerful avatar, sufficient to handle many dangers. This weaker avatar had, somewhat luckily, killed that grey mist entity. On one hand, it was because he possessed the Lai Yuan technique, but on the other, it was because the grey mist spiritual will was too weak. Even among those at the first realm of Godly King, such weak spiritual will was rare. Even those at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm who reached the level of a Godly King had quite a few. It's rare to see such weak spiritual will in the realm of the first realm of Godly King, Luo Feng thought to himself. Master, this assassination was targeted at me and Qingyang. Morosa voiced his doubt. Logically, Qingyang and I shouldn't attract such a powerful enemy. It was my fault. Luo Feng said, not long ago, I destroyed a great opportunity belonging to the Godly King of Wuxiang from the Shi Kingdom. Being able to summon members from the Shadow Sky realm to assassinate. Luo Feng quickly deduced the instigator. Having been so low profile since arriving in the land of origin, he had few enemies already, only someone who could afford to employ the Shadow Sky realm just to kill a servant and a disciple. The Godly King of Wuxiang was the most likely possibility. Destroyed his great opportunity? How significant was this opportunity? Morosa inquired. Probably all the resources he had accumulated over his entire cultivation journey, Luo Feng guessed. A guest elder Godly King needed 50 million merit points to exchange for a position. Although the Godly King of Wuxiang was at the limit of the first realm of Godly King, acquiring this opportunity was indeed not easy. Indeed, the Godly King of Wuxiang had secured this opportunity at the cost of his brotherly relationship with the Emperor of Qiankuan and had essentially sold himself to the Two Realms Palace. All the resources accumulated since beginning his cultivation? This godly king of Wuxiang must be furious, Morosa said. Master, you've indeed made a mortal enemy. Luo Feng just smiled and said no more. The flying boat, under Luo Feng's control, traversed the void with incredible speed. Luo Feng also examined the corpse of the godly king he had just stored away. This godly king's treasures. Luo Feng discovered some storage treasures within the corpse and also found a concealed godly king weapon, which the opponent evidently had had no time to use. Some ordinary treasures and a golden cone from the first realm of godly king. Luo Feng examined the golden cone and thought, adding up all the treasures, they are barely worth 100 billion cosmic sand. This godly king, so poor? Luo Feng wondered. The Desert Wind City Lord, who had cultivated the primordial bloodline and invested so much in his own body, could still produce 80 billion cosmic sand. This clearly deeply accumulated godly king only carried so few treasures? Too poor. Most transcendents of the primal chaos realm are wealthier than him. Luo Feng began to study the corpse further. This corpse? Upon examination, Luo Feng noticed the extraordinariness of the corpse. The grey mist had coalesced into a liquid state, slowly flowing while spreading more grey fog on its surface. It appeared as mist, yet it was immensely tough. Hiss, hiss. Luo Feng tried to damage it, but as the grey mist was destroyed, it naturally regenerated. Even in death, this corpse remained so extraordinary. Luo Feng thought back to when he had used the blade formation to subdue it, finding the opponent's mist body hard to handle. The blade formation was completely exhausted, yet the mist body's damage was negligible. He must have invested all his treasures in his body, Luo Feng guessed. This turns out to be a bargain for Morosa, Luo Feng chuckled inwardly. The more extraordinary the corpse, the greater the benefits Morosa would naturally gain after absorbing it. Moments later, the flying boat had arrived above Huyang City. Master, that corpse. Morosa looked at Luo Feng. Wait till we get back to Xiangjia City, then go to the Star Tower to collect it. Luo Feng glanced at him. Even if he absorbed it, it had to be done inside the Star Tower. Having said that, Luo Feng had already disappeared. Morosa felt somewhat eager, thinking about returning quickly, but there was no way around it. He had to accompany his good disciple, Qingyang. Whoosh! Morosa waved his hand, and the couple's Muyu Qingyang along with a group of followers were released back into the flying boat. We are fine. All of Muyu Qingyang's couples were very surprised. When they had been taken in, Great Saint Luo his blade formation had already been defeated. That enormous grey mist entity was about to kill them. Now, however, they had already arrived over a city. Huyang City has arrived, Morosa said. Qingyang, hurry down and see your father. Finish up the affairs quickly and head back to Xiangjia City. Yes, Second Master, Muyu Qingyang couldn't help but ask, Second Master, how did we manage to survive here? Don't ask so much. Morosa glanced at him and had already taken the lead to fly out of the flying boat towards the city owner's mansion below. Muyu Qingyang and Zhong Yanji exchanged puzzled glances, taking their group of servants to fly down together. A vast and hidden world, also known as the Shadow Sky Realm. Completely dead? All avatars wiped out? A figure of thunder was informed and, shocked, immediately flew out of an ancient hall. Whoosh! He transformed into a thunderbolt, instantly crossing a great distance, arriving directly in front of a quiet pavilion within the Shadow Sky Realm. Master, the figure of thunder, terrifying in presence, stood outside the pavilion yet remained extremely respectful. The envoy has completely perished, and all his avatars have been annihilated. How did he die? A figure within the pavilion sat there. This figure sitting there naturally influenced the entire Shadow Sky Realm, and even his influence permeated beyond the Shadow Sky Realm, affecting many areas of the land of origin. We received a mission from the Wuxiang godly king of Shi Kingdom to kill Great Saint Luo his servant Luo Sa and the disciple Muyu Qingyang, said the thunder figure respectfully. This mission was assigned to the envoy. The envoy sent avatars to assassinate. After the failure of the avatars, the envoy's true body descended himself. But after descending, he never returned, and all his avatars disappeared, as did all their causality. He is utterly and thoroughly dead, that figure inside the pavilion stated. Master, although the envoy's strength was only at the first realm of godly king with extreme standards, he had a strong self-preservation capability. How could he suddenly die? The thunder figure inquired. He had avatars in the shadow sky realm, the figure inside the pavilion stated, and there was no causality attack that reached the shadow sky realm, so it must have been some type of soul attack, possibly an assault of spiritual will, perhaps the extermination of the soul, or possibly control through an illusion technique. All are possible. The thunder figure stated, the envoy's spiritual will, although weak, had also reached the threshold of the first realm of godly king. To kill him merely with spiritual will, it would have to be a will beyond the ultimate realm of God King, across the entire land of origin. Not many can achieve such a step. As for the soul path, maneuvers at the godly king level are also very rare. Two possibilities: either he encountered a terrifying entity with an extremely strong spiritual will who instantly exterminated him, the figure inside the pavilion said with a smile, or he encountered a practitioner with achievements on the soul path. It's a minor matter, you need not worry too much about it. Yes, said the thunder figure respectfully. Being one of the core members of the Shadow Sky Realm, he also understood that many of the envoys were just ordinary members of the Shadow Sky Realm. Although I have bestowed you with power, you must also temper your own will. Without sufficient spiritual will, you cannot perfectly master this power, the figure inside the pavilion stated. Yes, Master, the thunder figure bowed respectfully and then left. The sitting figure in the pavilion watched this unfold. Cultivating powerhouses through external forces fundamentally has great flaws, the figure inside the pavilion pondered. No matter how many I nurture, confronted with truly powerful entities, they are wiped out under the sweep of a will. Yet, the sector beast from Tianmu Kingdom nurtures life within its inner world quite perfectly. The individual from the East Extreme Domain, who enlightens life with the great Tao of life origin, their nurtured life forms are more perfect than mine. That individual from the East Extreme Domain has ultimately survived the great destruction of the Source World. He truly is different, reflected the figure inside the pavilion. There still are some key aspects that I haven't comprehended, pondered the figure inside the pavilion. I can select someone from among the Divine Sons to try to cultivate a new envoy. To the Master of the Shadow Sky Realm, cultivating an envoy was merely a test subject in his cultivation of secret techniques. Moreover, these test subjects were absolutely loyal and tirelessly earned resources for him. Asterisk. Shi Kingdom, Wuxiang City. Wuxiang Ancestor had been waiting for a response from the Shadow Sky Realm. Wuxiang Godly King, the mission has failed, Shadow Sky Realm finally responded. Failed, the Wuxiang Ancestor could hardly believe it, just an ordinary primal chaos realm and an eternal true god, and the Shadow Sky Realm can fail. Luo, his avatar, was protecting them. The Shadow Sky Realm replied, if another assassination is needed, it will cost 500 billion cosmic sand, and we can strike again with a stronger member. No need. Wuxiang Ancestor immediately cut off the communication. 500 billion cosmic sand? Just to kill a servant and a disciple? Even if they succeeded, it would feel like a loss. With such a reputation as that of the Shadow Sky Realm, so useless, Wuxiang Ancestor was both angry and furious, having already lost a major opportunity once. Now, having spent 600 billion cosmic sand to engage the Shadow Sky Realm and still failing, his anger was naturally even greater. But Wuxiang Ancestor could hardly tolerate this frustration, but also understood that it would be foolish to take action himself. He could only contact his elder brother. Wuxiang, what's the matter? The Emperor of Tiankuan responded. Big brother, Wuxiang Ancestor did not hide anything in front of his elder brother, immediately telling him about the events in infinite space and asking the Shadow Sky Realm to take action. The opportunity one obtained at a great cost has gone just like that. I really can't tolerate it, said Wuxiang Ancestor. You'll have to tolerate it even if you can't. The voice of the Emperor of Tiankuan came through, cold and distant. Wuxiang Ancestor was taken aback. The Shadow Sky Realm's actions have an extremely low chance of failure, which is why they are considered the top assassination force in the land of origin. The voice of the Emperor of Tiankuan sounded. When they take action, they consider many factors. They surely accounted for the protection by Luo his avatars. Yet they still failed. Clearly there were unexpected circumstances. Unexpected circumstances? Wuxiang ancestor wondered. I am very clear about the operations of the Shadow Sky Realm. This unexpected situation is highly valued. They would be willing to disclose it to you only for a substantial price, said the Emperor of Qiankuan. Wuxiang ancestor knew well that his elder brother was a second realm godly king and an official member of the Two Realms Palace, really mingling among the high tiers of conflicts in the land of origin. His understanding of various forces indeed much deeper than his own. This assassination, precisely what unexpected factors there are, is worth investigating, continued the Emperor of Qiankuan. On the other hand, contending against Luo he brings no good outcomes. He is the direct disciple of Emperor Chu. If the contest continues, not only will you fail to kill him, but it will also ruin my relations with the Flame-Wind Ancient Country. I have very good relations with several emperors of the Flame-Wind Ancient Country which cannot afford your disruption, stated the Emperor of Qiankuan. Understood, responded Wuxiang ancestor. One of the reasons his elder brother moved freely in the land of origin was his excellent relations with several emperors of the Flame-Wind Ancient Country. Of course, his elder brother's culinary skills reaching the godly king level was another reason that made those emperors admire him. Flame-Wind Ancient Country and Thunder Ancient Country are the two core forces of the land of origin. As long as we maintain good relations with Flame-Wind Ancient Country, others will think twice before dealing with us. So your matter with Luo he ends here. The Emperor of Qiankuan stated. Yes, I understand. Wuxiang ancestor could only obediently comply. Once the communication was severed, Wuxiang ancestor was quite dissatisfied. My brother, disregarding his identity as a second realm godly king to please the Flame-Wind Ancient Country. Now he even refuses to offend a disciple of Emperor Chu. Although discontented in his heart, Wuxiang ancestor could only comply obediently. Because to seek great opportunities and major benefits, he ultimately had to rely on his elder brother. This episode is end here.